Am I the jerk for not wanting to help cover the costs of my friend's last-minute wedding? So over 9 months ago, I got asked to be a bridesmaid in my good friend's wedding. I felt honored and excited, as this will be my first wedding to attend as well as be a part of in my life. Originally, the wedding was set for sometime in 2025, which seemed reasonable because I thought that allowed everyone, especially them, to save, plan, and execute a beautiful wedding. Now somewhere between that 9 months till now, they decided to call the wedding off due to them wanting to just have an intimate courthouse wedding and then have a reception instead of the whole shebang. As of September 2023, literally last month, they decided to call the wedding back on and have the ceremony and reception and everything else that comes with it. The wedding date was set for October 24th, less than a month away from finding out it's back on, and now they're scrambling, everyone's scrambling. I had to order a last-minute dress, as did everyone else, and get my whole bridesmaid outfit put together, on top of figuring out a wedding gift for the happy couple. Now my problem is that as the day gets closer, my friend is sending out mass group texts wanting to hold a meeting about the leftover costs for the wedding and wants to delegate these costs to her friends and family. I feel like I'm being railroaded. I do not think it's fair or right to ask for your friends to help pay large amounts to a wedding that they plan to be in 2025, then called off, and then called back on with only about 25 days until the big day. This is making me feel stressed as hell, and I'm not even the one getting married. I don't believe it's my duty to have to sacrifice my savings and put myself in a financial bind for the sake of them. I love and care about my friend greatly, but I feel like she's being inconsiderate. Am I wrong to think that, or am I overthinking this? I really would like to know, as I have never been to a wedding or in a wedding for that matter. My mom told me that if it were her, she just wouldn't attend, but I don't feel like I have that option as the bride is one of my best friends and I really would like to celebrate them. What are your thoughts? Update. So, I thank you all for sharing your thoughts and opinion on the matter. I decided to text her privately and clearly and concisely let her know that I will not be able to contribute to her wedding due to me having already adjusted my finances to accommodate the new wedding date. Because I still would like to attend and celebrate this moment with her, I let her know that I am still looking forward to attending the wedding. Her response was that they weren't expecting people to be able to help, despite making a group chat and specifically stating they had leftover costs for the wedding that they would need help covering, and that she's glad I was able to adjust and make time to attend their wedding. Am I the jerk for sending my daughter on a trip to Europe but not my son? My 42M wife's 40F family is Mexican, and they follow a tradition to hold a big party for girls that are turning 15. It's called a quinceañera. That wasn't part of my culture, and I never understood the point of spending so much money in a party anyway, but we did save up for a while to throw my daughter one, until my daughter herself said a few months ago that she doesn't want a party and would prefer to spend that money on a trip. It will be a 30-day tour to Europe with a group of teenagers, including some school friends. Here's the thing. My daughter has a twin brother. Of course my son wouldn't get a quinceañera even though they celebrate their birthday on the same day, because the party is just for girls, but since the party turned into a birthday trip, he's upset and feeling left out. I tried to explain to him I'm not so financially comfortable right now to send both of them. I could find a way, but I honestly don't want to spend anything beyond the quinceañera fund. He lashed out and told me his mother and I always favor his sister over him, which is very unfair. I then told him my father never paid for any of my trips, and the first time I went abroad I was already an adult and did it with my own money. If that's what he wants, I suggested he could maybe look for a job. I get that I was harsh, but his sense of entitlement really threw me off. Am I the jerk for agreeing to the trip where he'd stay behind? Edit. To make it clear, I'm not paying for any of my daughter's friends' trips. It will be a supervised tour, and some girls she knows from school will also go on their parents' dime. Am I the jerk for refusing to pay for my girlfriend's travel and accommodation to a wedding only she's invited to and we're already in financial difficulty? We're all based in England. My girlfriend's cousin has been planning a wedding in Italy for next May for the last couple of years, and has asked my girlfriend to be a bridesmaid. She made it quite clear from day one that she strictly wasn't allowing any partners or children to the wedding. This has sparked quite a lot of controversy in her family, with many of the family now boycotting the wedding because their partners, who I might add used to be very close friends with the bride, aren't invited. I took this quite personally for a while myself, before realizing it more than likely is just down to cost and numbers. But nevertheless, I have always said to my girlfriend that if she wants to go, then I'm happy for her to do so. If she doesn't, then I'll also respect whatever choice she makes. I'm not a huge wedding lover anyway, so our grand plan was to still travel to Italy and have a holiday out of it, myself and our little boy, who will be 1 year old, just exploring for the day she's at the wedding. At this point, financially we were in quite a good place to do so. However, this year we've hit quite significant financial difficulty. Our 7-month-old son is growing in and out of clothes at the blink of an eye. I left my job in the springtime to pursue starting my own business. I invested my savings into starting it up, and business has been going well and I've been surviving, but I'm not at too stable of a salary just yet. And then, in the summertime, my girlfriend, whilst on maternity leave, found out she was being laid off due to budget cuts. She got a fairly small payout and has since used a chunk of it to pay off some debts and buy things for our baby, whilst my finances have been covering the household bills, car finance, fuel, etc., whilst I have a few small debts to pay off as well. We've had to also sell her car and share mine as we couldn't afford to run 2 cars anymore. She wants us to go on holiday next March for our son's first birthday, which I'd love to do, but I've had to say we might not be able to, so she's mad about that. Then there's also Italy to pay for in May, that I've told her I'm struggling majorly at the minute to forecast for. I've tried to raise my concerns with her over the last few months about the travel costs for the wedding, but she's not really been responding. Then we got into an argument a few days ago where I raised it, and she still hasn't discussed it with me because I honestly think she is expecting me to pay it. Had I have actually been invited to the wedding myself, then I feel like things would be different, and we could compromise on some sort of cost or saved very harshly for it, but I feel quite put out whilst already in financial difficulty, paying for her just to go to a wedding, as otherwise if it wasn't for this wedding, we more than likely wouldn't have been planning a trip to Italy in the first place. I have always wanted to go to Italy, but I'm struggling to enjoy the idea of going next year solely for a wedding when we can't afford it. Am I the jerk for refusing to spend time with my parents until they give up smoking? I, F16, have 2 parents I'll call David, M50, and Mary, F47. For my entire 16 years on this planet, they have been heavy smokers. They smoked with me in the car when I was very young, and had a habit of smoking indoors too. I've always hated it, and grew up scared that they were going to die from disease before I even graduated school. I also resent them for being so careless around younger me without a second thought about what the consequences might be to my health, never mind theirs. Now I'm older, I'd love to be able to say that they were and are otherwise bad parents. That'd make this entire situation easier as it would be less morally gray. However, they are great people and I love them to pieces and I wouldn't trade them for anyone. Part of the reason I'm being so harsh on them too, I think, I don't want them dead before they're supposed to be dead. They are my #1 supporters and do everything they can for me, and that's what's making me doubt myself. My dad loves spending time with me, we share interests in movies and hiking, and so we had plans today to watch a movie. I saw him go to light a cig after dinner, and out of frustration told him if he lit it I wouldn't watch the movie with him. My patience has been wearing thin because both my dad and my mom have made a litany of empty promises to me, swearing they'll quit on Monday next month, tomorrow, etc. They've been promising for years. They have Nicorette patches in the house that they don't use, and my dad even has a vape he was supposed to switch to instead of cigs, which I would have been overjoyed with. Anyway, I'm ranting. After I gave my dad my ultimatum, my mom butted in and said, "My name, that's mean." And my dad said that even if he was cutting down his cigarette after dinner would be the hardest to cut out. I repeated that I still wouldn't watch the movie with him if he lit it. He lit it, and I said okay, and walked out. He's really upset, and I feel so bad, but at the same time adamant to follow through on what I said. If I acquiesce and watch the movie with him out of guilt, he'll continue to smoke and continue to make unfulfilled promises. I'm torn. Am I the jerk? Am I being selfish and too harsh? Am I the jerk for not helping my mom with chores? I, 19F, am in my last year of high school, and my final exams are coming up in a few months. Recently I've been getting pretty bad grades at school, so I've been trying to work harder so that I can do well on my finals. I'm also the president of an association in my community and I've been extremely busy with that as well. My parents work on all weekdays from 9 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. On Saturdays, they work till 2 p.m. Their work is physically tiring and I feel bad for them since they work so hard. Every day they come home from work, have dinner and rest for around 1 hour and start doing chores. My dad would go grocery shopping if necessary and my mom would do laundry or clean the house. My mom wants our house to be clean and proper 24/7 and I like being clean too. However, every day my parents would start doing chores at around 10 or 11 p.m. and continue until around 1 or 2 a.m. I cannot help them with chores since I have to wake up at 5 a.m. to go to school. My school is pretty far, so I have to wake up early to travel. I come home at around 5:30 p.m. on a normal day. Some days I have meetings of my association, and on those days I come home much later. When I come home I have schoolwork that I need to finish, and by the time my parents come home, I haven't had the time to do any chores. I cannot stay up till late because if I do not sleep properly, I cannot concentrate on my lessons at school because I feel sleepy and dizzy. On weekends, me and my parents are busy because we always have something to do. We're always out on weekends and we always have either a party, an event, a project, or something of that sort to attend to. My parents, mostly my mom, complains that I do not contribute to any of the house chores and says that they work even harder than I do, which is completely true. I truly don't understand how they have the energy to do even house chores after working for so long all day. In my defense, I do the dishes when I see them and vacuum the floor sometimes. But I know that that's not enough. I feel extremely guilty, but I truly don't know what I should do about it. So, am I the jerk for not helping my parents with the chores? If I am, how can I improve?